Hi guys, how are you doing? Thank you for joining onto this video and showing some interest. So what can you expect to see here today? You're going to learn a little bit more about us, what we do, how you can get involved, and how would your investment be secured. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, we raise private finance to transform rundown properties into stunning homes. I want to make this very clear from the offset. We are only looking for high net worth individuals only. And unfortunately, if you don't fall into that category, then we don't have anything to offer you right now. However, there is a lot of value packed into this video, so it is worth you sticking around. We're also not here to offer you any silly, highly leveraged HMOs or social housing contracts with guaranteed rent and we'll fix the roof and we'll fix this and that. No, that is not us. And if someone's guaranteeing you 15, 20% returns elsewhere, then please click off this video, because that isn't us. We live in the real world. So now we've got that out of the way, my phone's ringing, fantastic. So we're looking for high net worth individuals to partner with us on future projects. So where do you as an investor fit in? Well, essentially on our last deal, we made a total of £63,000 in profit. Here's some images of the last project we just done. So we did really go to town on this. One, because we had a lot of fun on the socials and we've grown a rather large following over there. But two, just because we genuinely enjoyed doing this. Like, look, we didn't need to make a raised patio with porcelain tiles and a semicircle with a bull-nosed edged and a board around the edge and another step over there. Like, we did that because we enjoyed doing it, and that's a lot of fun to us. And just look at the results, like, looks sick. Anyway, there's Conran there before we did anything to it, and this is this is the main reason as to why we managed to get this property at such a good price. This small kitchen extension here wasn't tied into the building properly. There was a rather large crack running down the side there, and it also was running right through the soil pipe. So instantly, after the third time of visiting, we quickly concluded that this was just poorly built and wasn't up to today's standards. So that was why we got it at such a good price, and it was listed as subsided when it actually wasn't. So here's some pictures of us just finishing off there. Well, it's not actually us, actually. That's Reese, Holt Joinery. Get to know, incredible. So there's our kitchen, there's our bathroom. And I've just put this in there because I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. So because we're already paying it to banks and bridging lenders, the difference is we'd rather pay it to a partner we trust and not an institution. The business model already works with that cost built in, so all we're doing is changing who benefits. So on this last deal, we used a bridging finance to acquire it, and essentially the cost in that is interest payments, right? So we would just prefer to compound that for an investor that we trust and that trusts us. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone who wants a better return than in the bank and that wants the same security as these big institutional lenders. So now I'd like to pass over to my brother Conran, and he's going to explain a little bit more about where this all started.
Hi, I'm Conran. I will take you back to where it started for me. So when I was in sixth form, I worked a lot with my dad at weekends, the days I was off, and this job sticks out to me as a bit of a pivotal point in confidence. I remember taking these photos and thinking, wow, I did most of this work myself, and it's a really nice floor with the border and the centerpiece detail here. So yeah, nice confidence booster. I went to uni after 2 months, wasn't for me. I'm a practical person, I need to be hands-on. That's just the way it needed to be for me at the time. So me and my friend did a job together. It was a tile in a bathroom, and it went really well. Not too long after that, we started our own business. G&C, tiling and flooring. We were doing full bathrooms, entire houses throughout of tiles or flooring, whatever you wanted. My motto was customer wants, customer gets. No questions, that was it. So we got to work, built up a really good reputation quite quickly. When we first started tiling, the tiles started to get quite big. A lot of the tilers didn't like it. They'd be putting in huge prices or turning down a lot of the work. And for us, bigger was better. The finished product was better, and you could charge more for bigger tiles. So it was a win-win. We started doing all this work, and yeah, like I said, built up a good reputation, worked for some amazing builders in the local area, from Ambleside all the way down to Manchester, the entire Northwest, did a few jobs in Sheffield. Really, yeah, learnt a lot, did some great work. So this is it. This is a limestone natural job, TV in the wall there. You see, everything with tiling is attention to detail. You're finishing someone's bathroom, someone's house. You're the last in. you make the difference. You have to get your job right. Everything's to the millimetre. Everything's got to be level. The prep work's got to be right. Whether we were coming in and sorting other people's prep work out or doing the prep work ourselves, the prep is the most important thing. If the prep work's right, you can get a perfect finished job. If the prep work's wrong, you can't get that. So prep is everything. And I mean that across anything in life, but especially in the trade and the building. You got to get the prep right. So yeah, these are just some jobs I did. This is a cool bathroom. I remember this one. This is one of my favourite floors. That's a border. It's all porcelain with a herringbone in the middle. Another beautiful bathroom. Some wet room tray floors. They were very difficult. Bit of a speciality of mine. You got to get the planning, the prep again. Everything's got to be bang on. But when you pull them off, they are beautiful. This is a huge external patio job we did in Manchester. Amazing. It was 200 square metres. They were 1 metre by 1 metre, 20 mil thick. Extremely back-breaking, but totally worth it. This is another bathroom. Awesome. This was a job in Ambleside. We got some creative freedom with this, and that's why I put this job in here. We got to choose and advise on this little detail here, which was curved, meeting the wood to the porcelain tile, which is really nice. Another job here that I had complete freedom with the design. This was actually in my back garden, so it's all worked out to full tile, everything. That's a fire pit there, board around the entire, board around all this. Oh, it was stunning. This was my favourite job, the top spot. And it's quite hard to do that, but it was. It was a £10 million development holiday home for one of my clients on Lake Windermere. It was absolutely amazing. We did 800 square metres of tiling in total. There was 6 bathrooms inside. And we did the patio and all the internal tiling. The entire first floor and basement floor, those 3 floors, was completely tiled. But the networking and experience I got from just doing jobs like this was just second to none. It was absolutely amazing. All the other tradesmen we worked with, whether they were joiners, bloody glass fitters, balcony fitters, builders, plumbers, electricians, just the high end of every trade, and everyone really cared about what they did and were passionate about the finish, and it's just such a healthy environment to sort of learn in and develop your skills. So that got us onto our first project. Starting at the bottom again, your standard 3-bed semi-detached houses. So this is why I'm so confident going forward with property and refurbing, because I've done the hardest, most difficult bespoke work. So this is bread and butter, very simple, very small scale, and yeah, it's what I do. So we bought this property at auction, went to auction once and didn't get a bid. So it was unsold lot, which is where a lot of opportunity comes. It was going to auction for the second time, and we viewed the property 3 times. It was deemed as subsided. But after seeing the property 3 or 4 times, took a structural engineer around there, there's a few reasons why we were confident going forward. One, there was no ties from the bricks in the gap that we saw. And 2, none of the other properties on the neighbours or on the street had subsided. So we knew it was either a drainage problem or they'd built it incorrectly. It turned out to be they'd built it incorrectly. There'd been cowboys who had built it however long ago they did. They actually, when they did it, knocked this wall out, left the blocks on the floor, and just put a screed about this much. Terrible. It was terrible, which was really good for us. We got to come in and get it at a good price, and we went to town on it. Built an amazing extension on the back, really opened up the space downstairs. Spent a lot of time in the garden. We didn't have to go into this much detail, but when it's your passion and you love doing it, that's what you do. Put a border, curved border, raised patio bed here, bordered all this garden. Yeah, honestly, I just love doing it. We put in AstroTurf as well. Wouldn't usually want to put in AstroTurf, but it actually looked quite nice, this stuff, and it's low maintenance, so as a rental property, it's a good idea. We put floor-to-ceiling bespoke wardrobes in each bedroom. Very over the top, I know, but we wanted to do it, wanted to show our skills and ultimately attract investors. This is the kitchen. This is the finished extension. Beautiful 3.1 metre skylight in there. I can't believe we got that up without smashing it. It was very, very nerve-wracking, but it's all fun and games. These bifold doors as well, just absolutely stunning. This is the bathroom. Quite a small bathroom, but turned out really well. Used the space really well. Nice quadrant tray there, toilet sink, black accents. This is a feature wall in the open plan living dining area. The finished result kitchen. So yeah, like I said, we bought it off auction. It was going to auction for the second time, and we put in a sneaky bid, 90,500, which was accepted. Stamp and legals 3,715, refurb £75,000, end value 240,000. The bridge interest we paid was £7,000 on a funnily enough, a £63,000 loan. We paid them £70,000 back, and we profited in total £63,000. We remortgaged the property, pulling out 75% loan to value, pulled out £180,000. It was really, really nice. So when we decided we were renting it out, I had a friend that showed some great interest in the property while we were renovating it, and I rang him up and said, would you like to come and see it? He was there within an hour and a half, and he brought his family and his kids, and they were running around, picking bedrooms, appreciating all the small detail, and just really, they just really loved it. And it was just so nice to see, so fulfilling that all that hard work is going to be really used and appreciated by a family for many years, which is really nice. Honestly, I didn't think I'd feel that fulfilled from it, but it really got me. So it was a really nice part of it, and we want to do that going forward. So the strategies we use, three main ones: flip, BRR, and trade. Flip, you buy a rundown property that can have serious renovation or value add. You do that, then you sell it for a profit. BRR, you do the same, but you refinance it instead of selling it. Buy, refurb, refinance. Trade, you buy a property that's either in the same condition, worse condition, doesn't actually matter what condition it's in, as long as you're getting it at a cheap price. So what you're doing is you buy really cheap, and then you sell cheap, and you take the profit in between. For example, you buy a really rundown property for £70,000, you've got a really great deal, and you don't want to spend 6 months renovating it. The profit margins aren't too great, and you just want to mitigate the risk. So you buy it for £70,000. You know someone, another investor, who would happily pay £85,000 for it, and it still works for them. You take the £15,000 profit, and it's over a very quick period of time. You can be in and out of these deals 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes even less. So that's why trade is so attractive, because the potential of profit in such a short period of time is very good. Whereas the flips and the BRRs, you're obviously taking on refurb, the risk of the refurb, the time of the refurb, and ultimately you've got to sell it at the end. So you've got to be very clear, have a good build team for the flips and BRRs, which obviously us doing it in-house, we know and we're confident taking on these projects. But there are other people doing a flip who haven't got the trade experience that we've got. Obviously they're taking on a bit more risk there. They're not sure who they're going to get to do all the building work. They're not really sure how it's going to look. They don't really know how much it's going to cost. So yeah, it's just some knowledge for you there. So I'll pass you back over to Cole to talk about the security and minimising the risk.
How is your investment secured? So the way it works is you would loan us via a loan agreement into our limited company SPV. We would then buy the property and then issue a first charge security over the asset, essentially having the same security that the big lenders and institutions have. The setups are slightly different for a JV, so we could talk about that, but that's not who we're looking for in this video. And essentially the reason why it goes into our SPV is that it's tax efficient for both parties. If we do it in your name and then you pay us out at the end, we get charged on income as opposed to it being a property investment. You also would then be fully liable for the total amount and the capital gains. You then have to also do some accounting, which we do that through our SPV. It also gives us multiple exits. We have the property in our name, in our limited company SPV. We can refinance it if we decide we don't want to sell it. So having multiple exits is the strategy that we want to use. That mitigates the risk. So that nicely brings us to minimising the risk. So minimising the risk essentially is just being able to buy the property at the right price. You make your money when you buy. So buying at the right price is essential. Using auction sold prices as reference. So what do I mean by that? So when we're deciding how much we want to pay for a property or how much we're going to bid, We use auction sold prices as our guide, as well as sold comparable data of the property. But the reason we use auctions is because if we need to get out of a deal for whatever reason, we can put that property into an auction for 4 to 6 weeks time, and we know that there's a small buffer. We might actually make on it, but the chances that the margin that we'd lose would be very, very small. So that's what we look for when we're about to buy. It means we're bidding hard on stuff. So there isn't as much opportunity, but it is still there. So you've just got to find it. We base our end value data and again what we can pay for it on the sold comparable data within a quarter-mile radius. It needs to be a like-for-like property in a sense of if we're doing a 3-bedroom, 1-bath bungalow, then we can't use a 3-bed, 1-bath house, 3-bed semi as a reference. So it has to be a bungalow if you're doing a bungalow, of course. We're also not using on-the-market prices. We're not using on-the-market prices because that indicates that the prices are too high because they haven't sold, right? So we can only go off the sold comparable data. If you achieve more for it at the end than what you initially thought, then brilliant. But that isn't what we want to do, and that isn't what you should have in mind from the start, right? You shouldn't go into it thinking, well, I'm probably going to get 250 when realistically you know it's 220. So, right. And then, yeah, essentially, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, if you feel like you want to get involved and you want to get your money working for you and you want a better return than in the banks, then please don't hesitate to book a slot in the calendar and give us a shout. Alternatively, you can stay a ghost and continue watching us grow on Instagram. But that's it. Thank you for hearing me speak, guys. I appreciate that. Take care. Don't know why I did that.